Welcome to tonight's program on WRIB 1020. This is your host, Bert Healy. The Great Gatsby takes place in 1922, 4 years after World War I ended. One of the main characters in the story is Nick Carraway. Now, his next-door neighbor, who's another main character in the story, is Jay Gatsby. Nick will join us tonight and share his story and life experiences that have caught many people's eyes. He's been faced with much adversity throughout his time, and we are honored to have him joining us tonight. Welcome, Nick.
Thanks for having me.
Now, most of our listeners that have read The Great Gatsby have lots of questions, and a lot of them have sent those in, and I've put them down. Do you mind answering some questions for us tonight?
Not at all.
Okay, here we go. Do you feel that there's a major difference between East and West Egg?
Personally, I feel that there is not that much of a difference. I think if you look hard enough, you can see some traits throughout people in both communities that are similar.
Now, going back to your first time seeing the Gatsby home, what was your first impression?
Gatsby's home had always caught my eye. It was so mysterious and constantly left me with curiosity. This was mostly due to the fact that I rarely saw the owner before eventually becoming good friends with him.
Okay, now when you first met Jay, what did you notice about him right away?
One of the first things I noticed about Jay is that we had actually served in the same division in World War I. There were other things that I noticed, but this was the first thing that jumped out to me.
Now, in your opinion, why do you think Gatsby stayed so mysterious throughout the beginning of the book?
I think that his reasoning behind his actions were to lure people into his parties so that there was a better chance of him finding Daisy, which eventually worked out, just not for long term.
Now, do you think Jay's experiences with Dan Cody when he was younger benefited him later in his life?
I believe that working with Cody was one of the best things that could have happened to him. He realized that he did not want to be a drunk, and it gave him confidence throughout the rest of his life so that he would be a successful man.
Now, why were you so persistent in telling Jay that maybe he needed to move on from Daisy after a certain point?
I felt that no matter how hard he tried, there was no way he would end up with Daisy. Tom was too powerful and would not allow his wife to leave him, even though his heart was not in the right place. I tried to tell him it would not work out, but he did not take my advice.
Now, this may get a little personal, but what are your real feelings about the Buchanan family after the horrible incident and their reaction to it?
I feel that they are worthless and deserve no good. When Tom said that Jay deserved to die, I lost a little bit of respect I still had for him. They are careless and think that they can do anything because of their money, and I have no respect for people like that.
Now, throughout your experiences with him, what part of Jay's life do you think stood out to you the most?
I think that his deep love for Daisy revealed to us a lot about how he's a tender-hearted person, and he just wanted to be happy like the rest of us. The money wasn't his main focus in life, and I think that that's a good moral that many people should live by.
Now, if you were given the opportunity to change anything that happened, would you? And if so, what would it be?
I think if I could go back and change something, I would go back and tell Jay that trying to get with Daisy may not be the best idea. Daisy had many powerful people surrounding her. These people ultimately affected his life. Now, whether or not he would listen to me is a different story, but it may have been enough to save his life.
Now, lastly, how did the death of Jay Gatsby impact you on a personal basis, and what can people take out of this?
I think about Jay all the time and how he felt just before his death. I truly think that he knew he was going to be very lonely in the future, and that the void left by Daisy could not have been filled by anything else. A lesson that I think can be taken out of this is in order to be happy in life, you have to surround yourself with the right people. I think that he provides the perfect scenario in the fact that money does not buy happiness.
And I think that's a great comment, a lesson that anyone can take. That is, if you surround yourself with good people, your life will be better. Well, Nick, thank you for joining us and filling us in on your personal experiences throughout the time of these events. I'm sure our audience enjoyed your company.
Thanks for having me.
And, again, this is your host, Bert Healy on WRIB 1020.